For 5 months, nobody knew if it would ever happen again. Between July and December of 1986, thousands of deadheads sat in uncertainty, not just about Jerry Garcia's health, though that was terrifying enough, but about whether the entire ecosystem they'd built their lives around would survive. The tours they followed, the tapes they traded, the community that had become their identity. The Grateful Dead weren't just a band, they were a traveling city, a self-sustaining culture with its own economy, its own etiquette, its own way of moving through the world. And when Jerry collapsed into a diabetic coma on July 10th, all of it went into suspended animation. No announcements, no timeline, just waiting. Then 3 shows got scheduled. December 15th, 16th, 17th. Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Arena. The arena held somewhere around 18,000 and the tickets moved immediately. But this wasn't normal ticket demand. This was an entire community converging on Oakland to find out if the thing that defined them still existed. What happened on December 15th wasn't just Jerry Garcia proving he could play again. It was the Grateful Dead, band, crew, fans, all of it, proving they could still be the Grateful Dead.
I will survive. We will get by. We will get by.
And they did it through one of the most deliberately curated, emotionally charged setlists in rock history. Every song choice seemed to speak directly to what they'd all just survived. Lyrics sung hundreds of times suddenly meant something different, and everyone in that arena understood exactly what was happening. The waiting period was brutal for Deadheads. These weren't people who casually liked a band. Deadheads structured their entire year around tour dates. Some people quit jobs to follow tours. They knew every version of every song, could tell you which China Cat Sunflower from which year had the best transition into I Know You Rider. They traded tapes religiously, building libraries of shows that documented their own lives as much as the band's evolution. When Jerry went down in July, he'd just finished a co-headlining tour with Bob Dylan. The Dead were working, they were active, everything seemed normal. And then suddenly, nothing. Summer tour canceled, fall tour canceled, silence. You have to understand what that meant. Dead tours were where people saw their friends, where relationships formed, where a whole parallel economy existed, people selling food, crafts, anything to make enough money to get to the next show. Entire lives built around following the Dead from city to city, and it might have been over. There was no social media to check for updates, no official band statements. You heard rumors through the tape trading network. Someone knew someone who'd talked to someone in the organization who said Jerry was recovering. Or maybe he wasn't. Someone else heard he'd never play again. Another person swore the band was done forever. Nobody knew. You just waited. By October, Garcia was doing small Jerry Garcia band shows at the Stone in San Francisco. That was encouraging. At least he was playing. But those weren't Grateful Dead shows. The full band, Garcia, Weir, Lesh, Hart, Kreutzmann, Brent Mydland on keys, hadn't performed together since July. Would they even want to? Would Jerry be ready? Would it be the same? When Oakland got announced in December, the entire Dead community exhaled at once. Tickets sold out in minutes, but thousands of people showed up without tickets anyway. You had to be there, even in the parking lot, even outside. You needed to witness whatever this was going to be, because this wasn't just about whether Jerry Garcia could still play guitar. This was about whether the Grateful Dead could still be the Grateful Dead, whether that whole community, that whole culture, that whole way of life could survive what had almost killed it. December 15th, the arena packed. Fans who'd been holding their breath since July, finally in the same room as the band. The energy described by multiple sources as electric, emotional, almost unbearable with anticipation. The lights went down, the band walked out, and Bob Weir, Phil Lesh, the drummers, Brent, they were all there. But everyone was watching Jerry, watching him walk to his spot, watching him pick up his guitar, and then they opened with Touch of Grey. Now Deadheads knew Touch of Grey. They'd been playing it live since September of '82. Not constantly, but it was in rotation. Most hardcore fans had it on tape from multiple shows. It wasn't new or rare, but the Dead could have opened with anything. Something safe like Bertha or Jackstraw. That would ease everyone back in. Instead, they chose Touch of Grey. And in that moment, after what everyone had just been through, the opening lines became something else entirely. It's a lesson to me. The Abels and the Bakers and the C's. The ABCs we all must face and try to keep a little grace. The ABCs we all must face. Mortality, crisis, recovery, keeping grace under pressure. Then the chorus, I will get by, I will survive.
I will get by. I will survive.
When Garcia sang that line, the crowd didn't just sing along, they screamed it. People who'd been wondering for 5 months if their favorite band would ever play again were suddenly singing, I will survive with everything they had. The roar was described as spine-tingling, the entire Coliseum shaking with 18,000 voices. And then something happened that encapsulates what this night meant. According to multiple people who were there, the chant shifted from I will survive to we will survive, singular to plural. This wasn't about Jerry Garcia anymore. This was about all of them, the band surviving as a unit, the community surviving, the whole culture that had grown up around the Grateful Dead, proving it could weather this. People were weeping, holding each other, this wave of relief and joy and catharsis washing over everyone at once. 5 months of uncertainty releasing in one massive communal moment. Touch of Grey had always been an uplifting song about aging and perseverance, but it had never been this, not until December 15th, when those words became everyone's lived experience. Third song of the night, the live debut of When Push Comes to Shove, brand new Hunter Garcia composition.
At your feet, and we'll not let you pass when push comes to shove. You're afraid of love.
That would appear on their next album. This mattered. The Dead weren't doing a nostalgia tour. They weren't playing it safe with greatest hits. They had new material. They had plans. This was a band looking forward. Later in the first set, Candyman. Candyman had been in rotation since 1970. Nothing unusual about including it. Standard Dead show stuff. But there's a line in the middle. Come on, boys, and take my hand. Hand me my old guitar. Hand me my old guitar. When Garcia sang that line, the crowd absolutely erupted. You can hear it on the audience recordings. Not polite appreciation, but visceral recognition. Roaring, shouting, because everyone knew what Jerry had been through, how he'd lost the ability to play, how he'd had to rebuild from scratch. And now he was singing about being handed his old guitar back. A lyric that had always been just a lyric became autobiography in real time. And the Deadheads in that room, people who'd spent 5 months wondering if they'd ever see this again, recognized it instantly. That's what made December 15th special. The Grateful Dead and their fans had this shared vocabulary. Years of shows, hundreds of songs, all this history together. And on this night, that vocabulary took on new meaning. The band was speaking directly to what they'd all survived, using songs the community already knew by heart. The second set is where things got really deliberate. They opened with Aiko Aiko and Looks Like Rain, then debuted another new song, Black Muddy River, this slow, meditative piece about mortality and crossing over. When it seems like the night will last forever, and there's nothing left to do but count the years. Think about that choice. The Dead putting a song about endings and finality right in the middle of their comeback show. Not avoiding what happened, not pretending everything was always fine, but confronting it directly through their music. Then, playing in the band. If you're a Deadhead, you know what playing in the band represents. It's not just a song. It's the framework for everything the Dead did. Exploration, improvisation, taking risks, coming back around. But it's also about the literal act of showing up. Night after night, city after city, year after year, you keep playing in the band. After 5 months of not knowing if that would happen again, playing in the band became a statement. Yes, we're still here. We're still doing this. We're still the Grateful Dead. They stretched it into Terrapin Station, that massive epic about journey and perseverance and moving forward through uncertainty. Then drums and space, the section where Mickey Hart and Bill Kreutzmann take over and things get weird and exploratory. The Dead proving they could still do the improvisation. The risk-taking, the thing that made them unique. Coming out of space, they landed on Truckin. Truckin, the ultimate Dead anthem. Written in '70 after they got arrested for drugs in New Orleans. About persistence through adversity. About getting knocked down and getting back up and keep on going. What a long, strange trip it's been. Yeah, but also, keep on truckin'. Look at the arc of this setlist. Opened with I Will Survive, now landing on Keep on Truckin'. The message consistent throughout. Perseverance, continuation, showing up when it's hard. But they're not making speeches about it. They're saying it through the songs themselves, through a vocabulary the community already understood. Then Wharf Rat. Wharf Rat gets sung from the perspective of August West, a guy who's hit absolute bottom, broken and desperate and trying to find any path back. One of the Dead's darkest songs, really. And the crucial line near the end, I'll get up and fly away.
I'll get up and fly away. I'll get up and fly away.
Garcia singing that after everything he'd been through, after being flat on his back in a hospital bed, after having to rebuild his entire ability to play. The fans in that room made the connection immediately. You'd have to be completely checked out not to understand what those words meant in that moment. They closed the second set by coming back around to finish the Playing in the Band suite, proving they could still do the complex arrangement, still nail the return, then went into Good Lovin' for high-energy cathartic release. The crowd losing it, dancing, celebrating, the relief of it all finally landing. Then the encore, Johnny Be Good. Chuck Berry, foundation music. Rock and roll at its most basic and joyful. A song about a kid who can't read or write, but has this natural gift. And right there in the opening verse, he could play the guitar just like ringing a bell. He could play the guitar just like ringing a bell. The band closing this massive emotional night with a song celebrating the pure joy of being able to play guitar at all. After everything, the coma, the uncertainty, the waiting, here they were, playing a song about how simple and clear it can be when it works, just like ringing a bell. The crowd went absolutely wild, not because Johnny Be Good is fun, though it is, but because of what it represented. The Grateful Dead had made it back. Jerry could still ring that bell. The band could still be the band. The community could keep being the community. All three Oakland shows were magical. December 16th, the Neville brothers sat in during the second set and encore. That's what happens when a show takes on genuine cultural significance. Other musicians want to be part of the moment. The energy stayed high throughout all three nights, but everyone who was there agrees. December 15th was the one. The night where everything that had been uncertain became certain again. The Dead could have played it safe, stuck to crowd pleasers, avoided anything too emotional, just proved basic competence. Instead, they debuted two songs about mortality and perseverance. They chose Candyman with its line about old guitars. They built an entire second set around themes of journey and continuation and getting back up. They closed with a song about playing guitar like ringing a bell. Whether every choice was deliberately calculated or whether some songs just happened to be in rotation that night, honestly doesn't matter. What matters is how it all landed, how the context transformed the meaning of everything. And the Deadhead community turned it into something communal. They weren't just an audience watching a band perform, they were participants in this moment. The shift from "I will survive" to "we will survive." The roar when Garcia sang about old guitars. The recognition when Wharf Rat delivered its message about getting up and flying away. The pure joy when Johnny B. Goode closed it out. That's why this show matters beyond being a successful comeback. It's not Jerry came back and played well. It's the Grateful Dead, all of them, band and fans together, faced what almost ended them and came through it as a community. The Oakland run marked a transformation. The Dead came back tighter, more focused, more deliberate. They started working on studio material again. In the Dark dropped in '87 with Touch of Grey as the lead single, and it became their first and only top 10 hit. That success would bring complications. Massive crowds, security problems, changes to the scene Deadheads had carefully built. But that's a different story. December 15th was about the moment itself, before any complications. Just the Grateful Dead and their community in Oakland, proving they could still be what they'd always been. One of the most emotionally charged performances in rock history, created through the simple act of playing songs everyone knew but that suddenly meant something different. I will get by. Hand me my old guitar. I'll get up and fly away. Keep on truckin'. Play the guitar just like ringing a bell. Not just lyrics anymore, testimony, proof of survival. The Grateful Dead and their community showing each other and themselves that they'd made it back. And for one night in Oakland, every song hit different because of it.